Hello there, and welcome to the Stay Off My Lawn podcast, where we'll have a little fun, lots of laughs, and discussions on the common sense that needs to be applied to a lot of today's world news issues. And now, the disclaimer. Stay Off My Lawn is not intended as legal, medical, or financial advice. Void where prohibited. No purchase necessary to win. Open to legal U.S. residents 18 or older in the contiguous 48 states. Any resemblance to anyone living or deceased is purely coincidental. Actual price may vary. Only use as directed. Not a member of FDIC. And now, here are your hosts, Mike and Richard.
It always makes me dizzy. I don't know. Welcome to this week's episode of Stay Off My Lawn. It's October 8th, 2025. I know we're a day late. Life happens. It's, everybody's just got to get over themselves. And this is episode 136. So
don't get your knickers in a knot. The Democrats will cause enough of that.
Your knickers getting a knot, it just causes your voice to go higher. It's just not a good thing. We have so much to get to today. As usual, we have a whole, the week is always, and I thought it was bad during the Biden administration, but I think under the Trump administration, I think there's just even more news stories that are popping up left and right. Things that we need to talk about. But we are bringing back a segment from last year that we used to have. I had never heard of this before, but there was a day, it's called a day of unreasonable conversation. It was a summit in LA on Monday. I think they got to come up with a better name than that.
A summit for this? They had a summit?
Exactly. And when you think of unreasonable conversation, who comes to mind? Could it be Word Salad Smith herself? I mean, yeah. This is the old segment that we used to have, and we're reviving it today. Richard, get the paddles.
Damn it, Joe again. Oh, please, no.
Get the paddles. We're hitting her.
'Tis time for Auntie Kamala's words of wisdom for the week.
Because there's so much about this moment that is trying to make people feel like they've lost their mind. When in fact, these motherfuckers are crazy.
Wow. If you didn't hear that, you're going to have to listen to it again because I'm not going to say it. But these mofos are crazy, I think is what she ended up saying.
You believe that's what it was? I read lips good enough, and I've... Yeah, no, I'm well aware of it.
Yeah. It didn't sound very presidential, but I guess if she's out of that realm now, so it doesn't seem to matter. She has her memoir out, and we talked about this previously. It's called 107 Days, talking about the time that she took over the campaign until the election and kind of her experience through all that. Some of that's been kind of scandalous that she's talked about. She kind of threw Pete Buttigieg under the bus, and then she tried to pull him out and said, "Oh, I didn't mean it. I love gay people." And it's like, so it didn't really work out all that well for her. But they're flying off the shelves. I think there's 500,000 copies in print right now. And it's like number 4 in the country. So, I mean, okay.
I have no desire. I saw it. Why in the world do I want to read about it?
I don't know. But if she writes like she speaks, it seems like it would be completely unreasonable, unreadable. I don't see how... I don't see how that could be fun to read at all. It seems like I would have
there's this
a
thing
migraine.
called the Ghost Rider.
Yeah. Well, just like Biden. Didn't Biden have a ghostwriter for something on he had something. Forgot what that was.
Most of his presidency he had a Ghost Rider.
That's right. He had the auto pen. Yeah, that worked out well for him too, didn't it? Oh, my goodness gracious. I want to start off with something that I read just this morning. And Richard said he saw this a while back, too, and maybe it was a rehash of an older news story. But this is all for you. This is for you, like people who the rich don't pay enough of their fair share in taxes. This kind of flies in the face of that. But according to Reason magazine, I had never heard of them, so I don't even know the credibility of this magazine. But America has about 800 billionaires. I did not know it was that many, but they said that if every asset was seized from every one of them, down to their electric toothbrushes, and were sold for fair market value, that would be enough money to liquidate if all that was liquidated, it would be enough money to fund the government for 9 months.
That's all, folks. So when you're seeing like, well, we just need to get more money from them, no, and then you wipe. And then what are you going to do?
Exactly.
Because this is happening. A situation similar to that, I guess, would be in California and now Washington, where they are taxing the living crap out of stuff, and businesses in Washington are going, we just can't afford to pay that. They're closing up shop left and right. Bigger businesses are looking at moving, and that's an expensive thing to do, is to take a large business and move it to another area, state, whatever, and they're going away, and they're going, but we need your tax revenues.
Yeah.
Okay, tax and spend. That's a Democrat model that's been true for eons.
When it comes to businesses, though, I think
doesn't work.
I think these states lose the idea that these companies are in business to make money. And in order to make money, you got to cut costs. And if you're like In-N-Out Burger, when they moved from California to, I think it's Franklin, Tennessee, all of a sudden their state income tax is gone, or at least for their employees is gone. They may have to pay some kind of corporate tax, but it's a whole lot less in Tennessee. Everywhere here in the South, it would be a whole lot less than it is in California, Oregon, and Washington. And they for some reason, these states just feel like they have to pound them. Didn't you say that Washington just raised their taxes?
The biggest tax raise in Washington state history, and it was something around $12 to $14 billion increase in taxes.
All to live in one of the rainiest states in the country. I don't understand.
Well, on the West Coast, yeah, the east of the Cascades, if you will,
it's dry.
Anybody who's in the area, it's the same thing in Oregon. Everything east of the Cascades it's primarily all red.
Yeah.
So
it's red and it's arid, and it seems like better living conditions. I just don't like the rain. Maybe that I'm not a fan of that. But I just can't imagine living in a place like Alaska. Or, I mean, nothing wrong with Alaska. I think the pictures I've seen are beautiful, but I'll do it through pictures. I've got no desire to freeze my tuchus off. I've got no desire for that. But anyway, I just don't understand. New York is the same way. I mean, they tax the soup out of you, and they don't really seem to think that these companies have any options. Of course they do. These places are moving. Tesla moved a lot of their stuff to Texas, and then it's like a lot of companies are leaving, and it's like their brain. The people who are running those states are like on some kind of delay. They don't have any idea what's happening.
Well, those that are running the state don't have any idea what's happening when they're going, why do we have to keep raising because you're living a socialist society. They're saying, they might vote in Mamdani. I'll get it right one of these days. Kami Mamdani. Him.
Mamdani Osmond or something. Yeah, that's where I was remembering.
Already a socialist society. Yeah. It's terrible.
Yep. And like I said, they're taking care of these illegal immigrants. I think the spending on that, I think it was either in Oregon or Washington. I read the other day. It's like the spending was like through the roof. It was in the tens of millions of dollars. And then, now what? You have to raise taxes. Chicago's in the same situation. They've spent tons and tons of money on the illegal immigrants that are living in that city. And, so the programs for people who actually are citizens that live there is drying up. So, or they got to just raise the taxes and just beat the people up even more. And a fun fact, though, the top 5% of earners in the U.S., which are those earning more than $261,000 a year, which doesn't seem like the top 5%, but obviously it is. They paid 61% of all tax revenue in 2022, the last time that was calculated, which calculates to 1.3 trillion of the almost 5 trillion that the Fed generates through taxes. So, I mean, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money that those billionaires that don't pay anything, according to Hillary.
Yeah. They do pay their fair share. That's for darn sure, because the top pays the most. They pay for all the ones that are willing to sit on their keister and do nothing. And Trump's not a fan of that. And he goes, that's just not right. If you're an able-bodied American, this is not what Medicaid was made for. Get out there. And I'm only asking you to do something 20 hours a week. That's nothing.
No, 20 hours
I used
a
to
week?
do 20 hours in 2 days.
Yeah. But I mean, they don't.
Well, less than 2 days.
A lot of people don't think about work like that. They just think of work as it's a 4-letter word, even though literally it is. But it's one of those things that I don't think they understand. You and I have never made even close to $246,000 or $261,000 a year. But man, I paid plenty of taxes every year. When I did my taxes, it added up to, it was well over $10,000 that was being sent to the federal government. So I mean, it's, a lot of that money does come from the middle class, even though the majority of it does come from the upper class. And it's like the fair share. If everybody's paying 21% or even 16% after deductions and everything, that argument is falling flat with most voters now. I don't think people are buying it. I would hope.
No, and what they're doing with Social Security is, ooh, wow, we're going to get a 2.7% raise. Yay, I'll make almost $60 a month more. Oh, but no, I won't, because they're going to up Medicare by $25, something like that.
So it's going to be a push because inflation's at 2.1, I think is what it is. So it's not, we're not keeping up. No.
And then you keep jacking up the insurance. From when I first retired, it was about $135 a month a piece for us.
Now it's
now it's going to be over 200.
Is it over 200 now?
What's that?
Jeez. I wasn't sure how much it was now.
It will be this year. It will come up. It will be $206, I think, a month a piece.
Wow.
So
my wife will tell me about it, I'm sure, because she's like, I just can't believe this. It's like, I know, but that's the world we live in, and it's worse other places. So, I mean, there's, you got to, I guess, have perspective, but this whole thing, especially the healthcare, it's bad across the board for people even on Obamacare. And we've talked about this before too. I know people on Obamacare that are paying outrageous amounts for their healthcare. So, I mean, it's, you got to be in certain categories and check certain boxes in order for that to really work out for you. And most people just don't. If you're just poor, it's a hit and miss thing, whether it works in your favor or not. Anyway, yesterday, my daughter-in-law gave me a call. She enlightened me on a story that I had not heard before because the mainstream media ignores a lot of this stuff. This is a story of a 6-year-old boy that was murdered by someone who broke into their house some years ago. And it's a terrible story, but I'll let LKY out of Lexington, Kentucky. This is a news story that happened just recently about that whole process.
An Indiana man convicted in the death of a 6-year-old boy is now out of prison on parole.
I've had my talks with God because I'm not afraid to tell you all. I told the court, if I ever cross paths with him, I will kill the man. I will kill him where he stands.
Ronald Exantis was sentenced to 20 years in prison in 2018, but released early on good time and education credits. He broke into the Versailles home of Logan Tipton in December of 2015, fatally stabbed the boy and attacked the little boy's father and sisters. He was found not guilty by reason of insanity for murder, but a jury found him guilty but mentally ill on assault charges. Tipton's family also survived the attack, and his father says after that night, he lost his will to live.
I laid in bed. I gave up. I gave up on life. I gave up on my family. I gave up on everybody. I just wanted to die.
Exantis will remain under probation and parole supervision until his sentence ends next year.
So it's absolutely outrageous. I mean, this is the revolving door of justice. No murder charges and released after, 8 or 9 years? I just can't wrap my brain around that. He stabbed this boy in the head.
Yeah, how nice he's got an education credit.
Yeah.
That poor child never got an education, period.
Sure didn't.
And that's So I don't give a damn how good your education credit was.
I don't either.
Noogies.
You stab a boy in the head and kill them, attack his sister, attack his father, and you broke into their house. You should be under the jail. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what race you are. I don't care. You should be punished for that, and God forgive you, and that's wonderful, and that'll benefit you down the road. But right now, you need to be punished for what you did. I just don't understand how. And we were talking off the air about these activist judges that are like going, well, he might have been hungry, he might have had something. It's like, man, why is the perpetrator and not the victim felt sorry for or have pity on? I just don't understand how the justice system works that way now.
That's what was done. Oh, they're not mentally able to. Okay, they're not mentally able to be in society either. I'm sorry. Right. No.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to consider him mentally deficient somehow, we need to open up more mental institutions. I think we've talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Why do we not take some taxpayer money that we're blowing on this USAID stuff that we've saved from that? Why not build some mental institutions, and why not have a place for these people to go instead of back out on the street where they can possibly murder somebody else? I don't get it. I don't know.
Yeah, it just makes me want to get but I don't want my head to explode, so I kind of move on.
My daughter was very fired up about this, and I don't blame her. She's got two little ones that and of course we're in a safe place just like you are. Idaho's a very red place. Everybody's armed. Everybody's it's safe because of that. But at the same time, these people are out there, and there's just always that risk, and this should not be a risk that we have to endure. That's just the way I look at it.
Well, we're having issues with all the imports from other states that are, and they like to congregate in one place. They leave a place where they've just turned it into an absolute crap hole, and then they want the same crap hole that they left. I don't understand that at all.
I've been to flea markets and where they have T-shirts that says, "Don't bring your California votes to Georgia." It's like they don't move here and vote the same way you did in California, which ruined your state, just like what you said. It's insanity, absolute insanity. You know what? This next story is going to take a few minutes to unwrap. So why don't we take a quick break? And because this is a little bit early, but let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about a Build-A-Bear workshop in Seattle, which you wouldn't think would be newsworthy, but you'll see.
Well, it's Seattle, so
you just never know, because they're so sweet and wonderful up there. Okay, hang in there. We will be right back.
The old guys return with more Stay Off My Lawn in just a minute. God help us.
Bud Light presents Real Men of Genius.
Real Men of Genius.
Today we salute you, Mr. Pet Toy Designer.
Mr. Pet Toy Designer.
Nothing keeps Puppy from chewing our $100 shoes like $400 worth of little squeaky rubber shoes.
Squeakity squeak now.
The ham chop, the dog phone, the kooky cucumber. All incredibly lifelike when viewed by an unintelligent, colorblind animal.
I'm nobody's fool.
There's not a toy you make that dogs don't love. But then again, they also eat their own poop.
Eat their own poop.
So crack open an ice cold Bud Light, oh champion of the chew toy. After all, isn't it time someone threw you a bone?
Mr. Pet Toy Designer.
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Welcome back to Stay Off My Lawn, segment 2. And don't forget, if you want to reach out to the show and get a hold of us, it's SOML@duck.com, or you can call us on our phone number. Leave us a message. We get some of those every week. 706-383-9003. It's 9003 for those of you in California. Sorry about that. Sometimes the quiet part gets said out loud.
You insulted all two of our listeners.
I know. That's okay. Yeah. We didn't want you anyway. Oh gosh. Well, some teenager up in Washington State, I guess it was there was 3 teenagers, decided to go to a Build-A-Bear store in Seattle, and they had a strange experience. And this is the report from a local Seattle TV station about that story.
Me and my friends decided we want to go to Build-A-Bear because we had to go up to Seattle anyways.
But these teens told me Friday's trip to South Center Mall turned political.
It definitely made us all very uncomfortable.
16-year-old Evie McCormick says all she wanted was to honor the man who inspired her for years on social media, Charlie Kirk.
That turned my life around in more ways than I can express. And his name is Charlie Kirk.
But that name didn't make it past the Build-A-Bear manager. Evie says when she finished the special keepsake, the store employee shocked her by refusing to allow the bear to be named after Charlie Kirk. She wouldn't print the name on the bear's birth certificate, a decades-long tradition for the brand.
She just didn't agree with it. She didn't support it, and she told me we're not doing this, folded it up in the forest and threw it away. I scoffed, walked away. I was like, Kaylee, you have to pay for this. I handed her my card, told her my PIN, and I walked away.
I went inside the Build-A-Bear and talked to the manager of the store. When I asked her if this happened here, she said it wasn't something she could comment on and told me to call their corporate office. On the phone, a customer service rep told me the case is being handled internally by the appropriate department. Meanwhile,
I did call corporate and I was on the phone for a good 45 minutes.
Evie's mom took matters into her own hands.
They offered me a $20 gift card just because we had a poor customer experience.
Days later, she says the company admitted that never should have happened and that they would retrain their workforce to keep politics out of the workplace.
Did she apologize?
She did. She said that their goal is to try to prevent this sort of situation from happening to anybody else.
Inside the store in Tukwila, the Build-A-Bear Workshop protection policy asks customers to refrain from typing indecent or distasteful names for furry friends. Evie says she never wanted a political standoff inside a store meant for kids. It was simply a way to commemorate the life of someone she looked up to.
Yeah, Charlie Kirk is distasteful and so, I don't know. Apparently, there are still people getting fired over this whole Charlie Kirk thing.
Yeah, you
at
want
least
to be
demoted.
that stupid. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, if you bring politics into, I mean, you and I both have a lot of social media revolving around our voiceover business, and it's like I don't bring a lot of politics into that, especially on my voiceover page. I never say anything political. I mean, not because I'm afraid to, because it's like it's not appropriate. There's nothing. It's like I don't bring up what size shoes I wear either. I mean, it's just it's irrelevant. Now, if somebody wants to have me advertise for the new booster for COVID, I'm going to say no. So, I mean, there will be things that I would refuse, or if they want me to do an advertisement for, somebody who's running some liberal or for Mom Donnie or whatever, I would have to say no. But that's just me. But I'm not going to advertise that, and I'm not going to tell people that they're just wrong. I'll just say, I'm not the right guy for you.
It's I know some folks that live up that way, and I can see the gentleman's wife being like that. Just they want to leave the country. They were going to move to a place that's not good. And they kind of went, well, it's expensive. I guess we'll just stay here. It's like, give me a break. It's not that big a deal. We lived through 4 years of
AutoPen, yeah,
a vegetable lobotomy, man.
Yes.
You'll be just fine because it's the country is not going in that direction anymore.
No, you're right. You're right. I mean, 4 years of President Potato Head, and we did fine. I mean, things weren't great, but I mean, we survived. We've survived a lot of bad presidents. I mean, they seem to have gotten worse over the years, but yeah, we've done. It's just insanity. But the evil hatred for Charlie Kirk is just still off the charts. By the way, I have a text chain with some guys from my small group Bible study, and this came up yesterday about the spiritual attack seemingly that has happening going. It's been going on. It's like there's a lot of excellent expository Bible teachers and purveyors of the gospel and some common sense thought leaders that are just been under attack. You think about this, thought leaders like Dennis Prager, who broke his neck a while back and now he's paralyzed from the neck down. I did not even know about that. What, you got something?
Yeah, no, you're talking about Dennis Prager.
Yeah.
There was a liberal news channel. Oh, it was PBS. That's why it was liberal.
Really?
And they were talking about this is what Prager University is doing. It's already been accepted in 10 states for use with our children. Education, it's like, what about all the indoctrinating you've been doing for the last 40 years?
All Dennis Prager ever does is promote the original wordings of the Constitution and the spirit behind the settling of this country. He doesn't say anything controversial that I've ever heard. But then again, Charlie Kirk hasn't either to me. But anyway.
Yeah, not that I'm going, what has he said that? And I think the word gets out is this is how you need to think about Charlie Kirk. Don't worry about watching anything.
Right.
We're going to tell you how to think about it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Really?
Don't worry about doing your own research. And man, I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday. Hopefully we learned our lesson from COVID, not to take people's word for everything and do your own research. But Jordan Peterson, did not even know about this. He's been in the hospital for over a month. He was in ICU. He just got moved out of ICU just recently. But
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, I didn't either. But he's had, this was on Glenn Beck. He was talking about his daughter had put out a video on his well-being. He's still in the hospital, but he's dealing with a lot of issues and he's a mess. And like I said, he's another guy that is one of those thought leaders, for lack of a better term. I mean, he's a thinker and he understands people. He's a psychiatrist or a psychologist, but he's just smart all the way around. And then you've got, Bodie Bacham and Pastor James, he's a pastor, Pastor John MacArthur and Charlie Kirk, all within 30 days, those guys are just gone. Bodie Bacham went in for a surgery and he died on the table. John MacArthur had been dealing with issues with his lungs and everything for a couple of months, and then he was gone. And it's like, and then Charlie Kirk. I mean, it just seems like a lot of these people that, at least for me, that I look up to have common sense and to preach the real word of the gospel. It's like, a lot of these guys are going away. So it's just funny. In that text, we were going back and forth and we kept coming up with another name. It was just incredible. Some of these people that are just gone all of a sudden. It's absolutely incredible. So, but anyway, I mean, it's almost like rapture slowly, day at a time, almost. It's really strange. So anyway, filed this one under, I can't believe what I just heard. This is, Caitlin Collins, who often is a sparring partner for the president, said this the other day while she was being interviewed on a podcast. And here's that.
It's different because Trump is such an accessible president that, like, if he's just swearing in the ambassador to Greece, like, typically that wouldn't be a newsworthy event if President Biden or any typical president was probably doing it. But Trump's moments, anytime the camera's around and the reporters are around, it can turn into a press conference. And so you never go into the Oval thinking, oh, this is going to be a quick, we call them sprays. It's where you go in, basically a photo op, and then you leave. Because Trump will swear someone in and then he'll turn to you and say, any questions? And he'll take maybe questions for 45 minutes. And so you have to, I always keep a running list of questions on my phone.
Okay.
Because you never know when you're going to run into him or when he's going to start taking questions. And so you can't just have one or two. You have to have 10 ready to go.
I mean, that's probably the nicest thing she's ever said about him. So, I mean, I'm kind of okay with that. I don't know. It's kind of a compliment, right? He's accessible.
Yeah, I think so. Are we still? There we go.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, it's. I don't know why it's saying not enough memory. I got 64 gig of RAM. So don't ask me what this program has just been a nightmare for me.
We may have to go back to Zoom and deal with the audio.
We'll figure it out. Get rid of some of the echo and the canceling and all that, and it might work on Zoom. We'll have to play with it.
Yeah,
sorry for the being gone, but I am in shock that she gave you listen to it, and it's like she actually said it kind of pleasantly too.
She had a smile on her face and everything. It was really kind of weird. Maybe she was drinking. I don't know. She was on a podcast, somebody's podcast. I don't know who it was, but she might have had a sip of bourbon or two. I mean, who knows? So.
Maybe she was abducted by aliens and this is the result of their probes or something. I don't know.
That very well could be. Very well could be. I was chatting this morning with our good friend and our favorite Brit of all time, I believe, Charmaine Davies this morning about the crap that's been going on in the UK. And she's got, I don't know if you've seen a lot of her shorts that she puts up all the time. And she's just so funny.
I will see them, and then I don't see them. I have to go find them, and then I'll see them again for a while, and then they just disappear. Yeah. So
I think Barbara and I have watched enough of them to where I get the notifications on my phone now. It's like Charmy has put up something else. I'm like, okay, so we'll watch it and see what funny things she has to say. But she's been very critical of Keir Starmer, the British Prime Minister, and for good reason. That guy is just. He reminds me of like who's the guy that was running for vice president on the other side? Gosh, I can't think of his name. The guy from Minnesota. I can't think of his name. Anyway, he was. Both of them are just kind of like half-brained.
Oh,
Tim Walz. That's it. Tampon Tim. But both of them seem to be only working with half their brain tied behind their back, and they don't have. It just doesn't seem like there's a whole lot going on there. But we talked a little bit last week, you and I did, about how the leftist leadership has allowed the great culture of the UK to kind of dissolve before their eyes. And the most recent thing this British Prime Minister has done is he's tackling the big issues of the day, like no refills on sugary drinks. Oh, my goodness gracious.
It just makes you just shake your head and go, really?
Yeah, exactly. Is that really the biggest thing on your plate? I don't think so. But I had never heard of this guy before, but Sky News Australia contributor and Great Britain News, GB News contributor, Will Kingston was talking about all these things that are going on in the UK. It's fascinating. You got to hear what he has to say.
Let me see if I've got this right. The UK gave citizenship to a man whose name literally translates to jihadi from Syria. After receiving that gift from the British people, he was arrested for rape. A British judge thought it was appropriate to give him bail and let him back out on the streets. While on bail, he slaughtered Jews at a synagogue on the Jewish holiday of Yom Kippur. I'm done. I'm done with the euphemisms. I'm done with the crocodile tears. I'm done with the calls for unity. I'm done being told not to hate. And I'm done skirting around uncomfortable truths. So let's list them. Uncomfortable truth 1. Multiculturalism hasn't merely failed. It has embedded sectarian violence on the streets of the UK and cost countless lives, most recently the lives of Adrian Daubly and Melvin Kravitz in Manchester. Again, strength and love to their families. Uncomfortable truth 2, diversity is not our strength. It has never been our strength. And in fact, it has now become our greatest weakness economically and culturally. And I'm yet to hear any coherent argument for its value that doesn't default to, well, we get good restaurants out of it, which isn't good enough justification for complete cultural and social fracture. And besides, we've got the recipes now anyway. Uncomfortable truth 3, Islamism is a cancer on the UK, and more citizens will die as a result of appeasing it. We need to say these uncomfortable truths loudly, and whilst we still can. Islamophobia laws are coming, ladies and gentlemen, as the great Christopher Hitchens predicted 16 years ago.
is very urgent business, ladies and gentlemen, I beseech you. Resist it while you still can, and before the right to complain is taken away from you, which will be the next thing. You will be told you can't complain because you're Islamophobic. The term is already being introduced into the culture as if it was an accusation of race hatred, for example, or bigotry, whereas it's only the objection to the preachings of a very extreme and absolutist religion. Watch out for these symptoms. They are just symptoms of surrender.
That's exactly what's happening. I mean, we were talking about last week that even if you fly the flag, you're considered a racist because it's like an attack against the immigrants. It's just insane. You're muted, sir. You are muted. Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Yeah, I had a confirmation for a very important doctor. You get old, you have more of these doctor's appointments.
I hate those doctors. All they keep doing is finding stuff wrong. And if I can only hear them, I just turn off my hearing aid now, and I'm doing just fine.
Yeah, it's I forgot, but it's pushing is it 600 Sharia law courts that they now have areas?
Something like that,
like
yeah.
500, 600, something
think,
like that.
yeah.
And no, it's like,
Why-
that needs to be shut down here too. It's like, no, there are still some of those, especially in Michigan and Timmy Boy's state, Minnesota.
Yeah, because that seems to be, and why the cold states? Why would the Middle Eastern people go to those cold states? I guess because those people are low IQ. I have no idea. I don't understand why they're up there, but yeah, it's slowly taken over. And I can't remember the big city in Michigan that Sharia law is kind of like almost the
Flint, I believe.
Is it Flint? Yeah,
I think
it's one of those cities near Detroit, anyway. But it's just insanity. And we really need to look at them and go, yeah, we don't want to end up like that. Because like we said last week, 6 million people are immigrants, Muslim immigrants that have moved to the UK. And the number one baby name in a bunch of cities over there is Mohammed. So, I mean, 6 million people out of 66, and they're even that small percentage, that's 10%. So, I mean, but they are taking over the culture. And it's just, unfortunately, the UK and as well as America, obviously the UK has a much longer culture, longer history of culture. You can't just let that dissolve before your eyes. It means something. Those things are important. So anyway,
yeah, it's there's so much of it going on. It's like, are you serious? Really?
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Yep, I know it. Let's do this one more story before we go to break, because we've got a couple more things to get to when we get back. And we've chatted too much, maybe. I don't know. Or maybe we just had too many stories. I don't know.
Oh, well, you've chatted a lot. I went bye-bye.
Yeah.
This program absolutely hates me.
I don't understand it. But we are at the 1 week mark of the government shutdown. The Republicans are saying it's overfunding of illegal health care. And of course, the Democrats are saying adamantly that that's not true. It's illegal to fund illegals with Medicaid. Oh, for goodness sake. But one thing I will suggest for you to do, and we always do this for everyone, is to go read part of this bill for yourself. And I suggest you go to speaker.gov. This is Mike Johnson's official website. And if you go to that, he's posted pages of the Democrats' version of this CR that they've proposed, and read it for yourself and see what you think and see who's lying, who's saying that that's not in there. They're doing that for talking points. It is in there.
Oh, yeah.
I read it.
Yeah,
Richard's read it.
That's it. And when they're saying that, well, it's illegal for the federal government to fund them, what they're doing is going around the horn and, the states are paying for it. Where are the states getting the funds for this? Right. Just,
they get
that's right. Federal taxes.
That's right.
And I'm tired of paying for it.
Absolutely. But you're right. It's sort of like when the exports from China go through Laos or Vietnam to avoid their big tariff that they would get coming out of China, then it's the same kind of thing. Well, the federal government doesn't fund that directly. No, it feeds their state Medicaid program, which funds the hospitals when the illegal immigrants come to the emergency room or get seen for whatever. But Mike Johnson had
that doesn't come from the federal. Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it does. Here's Mike Johnson talking about this as of yesterday morning.
Let me talk about the shutdown here real quick, and I promised you just 5 fast facts, 5 key facts. Okay, I'm going to start with Leader Schumer's record because he is leading the opposition, and he is the one telling the Democrats to keep the government shut down. Chuck Schumer has been in Congress for 44 years. He was first elected to the House in 1981. Just for reference, I was 9 years old. I was in the 3rd grade when Chuck Schumer came here to Congress. Throughout his entire career, he has been very, very consistent about the necessity of keeping the government open until just now. In fact, I want to read to you an excerpt from 7 months ago, his floor speech on March 13th, 2025. This is Senator Chuck Schumer in March of this year. Quote, on the Senate floor, while the CR bill is very bad, the potential for a shutdown has consequences for America that are much, much worse. I believe it is my job to make the best choice for the country to minimize the harms of the American people. Therefore, I will vote to keep the government open and not shut it down, unquote. Now, what was Chuck Schumer talking about? The exact same bill that is on the floor today. That's what he himself said. And he did vote to keep the government open. And then, during an interview with Jake Tapper on CNN following that vote, on March 14th of this year, he said, quote, I'm proud I did it. I know I did the right thing, unquote. That is Chuck Schumer himself. Today's the exact same scenario. It is the exact same vote. It is the exact same spending levels. And he has no reason whatsoever to do anything different, except for the politics. So that's fact number 2. Fact number 1 was Schumer's record. Fact number 2 is his calculation today. It is purely about politics. He is recognizing the reality of the political winds changing in the state of New York. As I mentioned yesterday, they are likely to elect a Marxist to be the mayor of New York City, and Chuck Schumer is terrified by that. He's been in Congress a long, long time, and he is not the flavor of the day. He's not far enough left for the Marxists, and he knows he's going to get a challenge from his left flank. So he has to show a fight against President Trump, no matter how ridiculous it is, no matter how distracting it may be to the actual issues of the day. He's got to do that. Democrats have been in the political wilderness since last year's election. I got a couple of numbers for you here. Just over a week ago, Quinnipiac released the latest poll, the lowest favorability rating for the Democrat Party ever recorded. They're at about 30%. 30% favorability. Democrats have hit historic lows and poll after poll since the beginning of this year. Wall Street Journal poll, CNBC poll, the Pew survey, et cetera, et cetera. You've all seen it. Many of you have reported on it, and that is a fact. It is inescapable. Third fast fact this morning, the Democrats' record on the CRs. You know about Chuck Schumer's record, but they've all done it. Democrats and Republicans have worked together to pass 13 CRs to keep the government open under the Biden administration in the previous 4-year term. Democrats supported every CR close to unanimously in the House and the Senate. In fact, their average is 99%. 99% of the Democrats who are voting no right now voted yes 13 times on the almost exact same, word for word.
Yep. But weren't you telling me off the air that even Democrat, maybe it was
there was a poll about are they in favor of the shutdown, and it was only 38% of Democrats were in favor of the shutdown. So they're doing stuff against their own party, and they just keep tripping on their own. It's like, really? How many more stupid things are you doing? Nobody's in charge. And if they think that AOC's in charge, come to my office. She sounds like a southerner. Yeah, I'll negotiate with you. We'll come up with it. Oh, police. You're no more in charge than a man in the moon. You can't complete a sentence. I mean, give me a break. The stuff that's said is ridiculous. ridiculous.
Oh, it is. It is. And you know, there's been polls in New York anyway, in New York City, where she lives and where I think he's from there too, with the almost certain election of the Marxist Mamdani in New York City, the door is open for AOC to challenge Chuck Schumer in the Senate. So, I mean, it seems like Mike said, Schumer's not the flavor of the day. AOC is in those really extreme left-wing areas. I mean, we may be surprised
Which is a very small percentage, and it's getting smaller all the time because Democrats are going, that's not the party I want representing me. And they're leaving in droves, but apparently they can't see the numbers of what's happening.
I know. Now, maybe the polls have been manipulated. We've seen that before too. So, it's kind of hard to know. Maybe we'll be surprised at the election. But I mean, it does seem like he's got such a big lead. Mamdani does. And if that happens, AOC is a lot like him. So, I mean, she has basically the same views. So, I don't know.
Too many uneducated people think, I'm going to get it for free. Sorry, people. I don't care what you're told. Nothing in this world is free.
Nope, sure isn't.
Somebody somewhere had to work to earn to pay for that.
Yep. And it's normally us.
Well, better them than me. Oh, no, that's not how it works.
And it's normally us working class people and your bosses who are the rich people. So, somebody's paying for it somewhere along the line. So let's leave it there. We are up against another break. When we come back, we will talk about Pam Bondi in front of the Senate yesterday. And it got a little heated, and hopefully she will respond with some perp walks. I really want perp walks.
Everybody does.
Yeah. So hang in there. We'll be right back.
I'm Charmaine Davies, and if you're looking for a new podcast to listen to, I suggest you stay off my lawn. Well, no, not my lawn. It's a podcast called Stay Off My Lawn, which is absolutely brilliant. It's funny. It's informative. The guys that present it are just amazing. So that's everything you need in a podcast, I think. So go over to Stay Off My Lawn. It's brilliant. Make it your guilty pleasure. It's definitely mine.
Hey, Wolfman, I thought cleansing was good for my skin.
It is, but cleansing ain't enough. I've been there, I know. Once those pimples make the scene, you need heavy medicine, Clearasil.
What makes Clearasil so special?
Well, Clearasil not only dries up acne pimples and helps heal them up, it keeps on working 5-6 hours, sopping up that extra skin oil.
How come cleansers don't do all that?
They would if they could. They would if they could.
Clearasil, regular tinted and vanishing formula.
And another like the woman, Jack. He's gonna get you there and play you some stacks of wax, baby.
Clearasil, it'll dry out parts of your skin and make the other parts.
Wait,
Gotta make a buck where you can.
What was the other stuff that you used to put on your face with? Because I had bad acne when I was a kid. It was in a blue. It was a blue liquid, but it was it was Ocean Breeze or something. I can't remember what it was called. But anyway,
back in my day, it was Clearasil.
Yeah,
that's the only thing. It was almost like it was liquid sandpaper. You rub that stuff in, and it was gritty.
Oh yeah, it was terrible. It would dry the crap right out of your skin, and then you still have a pimple pop up right in the middle of it. So it didn't seem to matter. That was part of my lawn mowing money would go to that as a 13-year-old kid. I had to buy that. So
I don't even know if they make that anymore.
I don't know.
Oh well.
Thankfully, I haven't been in that aisle in a while, so hopefully it stays that way. But Attorney General Pam Bondi, now I do like her, but like we said just before the break, that I want to see perp walks. I want to see somebody. I want to see Comey in cuffs. I want to see Fauci in cuffs. I want something. I need somebody.
Oh, he just said not guilty today, by the way.
Yeah, I heard that too. So
it's like, are you kidding me? Yeah. They've got all kinds of paperwork and all kinds. Okay, you could say what you like. It's up to you, but
his arrogance won't allow him to say guilty. He's never going to do that. But anyway, it seems like maybe if this happens, more heads are going to roll for something I had not even heard about before. But here she is.
Also heard them said, and I just wrote it down because I wanted to be sure I heard it correctly. I've heard them say that Joe Biden never targeted his political enemies. Joe Biden never directed his attorney general to target his political opponents. That's interesting because I could have sworn that yesterday we learned that the FBI tapped my phone. Let's look at it. We've got a list. Tapped my phone, tapped Lindsey Graham's phone, tapped Marsha Blackburn's phone, tapped 5 other phones of United States senators. Gee, it sure looks like targeting political opponents to me, and yet I haven't heard a word from that side of the dais about any concern whatsoever. We've got nothing but concerns today, but no concern at all for a Justice Department that is tapping the phones of sitting United States senators because who knows why. They don't like them. They're members of the opposition party. They're Republicans. They're conservatives. You've seen this document, Attorney General Bondi. Well, what was going on here? Who ordered this? Who ordered the tapping of the phones of United States senators?
Senator Hawley, I cannot discuss the details of that right now for very good reason.
You're going to do a thorough investigation into this, I trust. Is that correct?
We will be looking at all aspects of this, and I have talked to Director Patel at length about
And
this.
you're going to figure out who was involved in this, who signed off.
Yeah. So hopefully heads will roll. That, by the way, that was Senator Josh Hawley from Missouri. I do like him. He's a tough guy. And when Pam was presented with an attack by Senator Blumenthal, she's a tough cookie.
Oh, yeah. By the way, they have fired several FBI agents who were doing the spying and the tapping on these phones. They were let go yesterday.
Oh, were they? Now, if they were following orders, I mean, I don't know. I don't know where that line gets drawn.
Yeah, they were more of your deep state type
probably.
folks, and it's like, thanks for playing our game.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
You knew this was wrong. Bye-bye.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you're violating the Constitution, just like if your boss told you to do something completely unethical, yeah, you could always just say no and deal with it later. But yeah, I think these FBI agents were more than willing to go along with this because they hated the right side of the party. But anyway, Pam Bondi was asked this question by Senator Blumenthal, which we'll talk more about him in a second. And she bit back a little bit. It's kind of fun.
I understand that Brian Ballard, longtime backer and head of the law firm where you worked, was instrumental in lobbying the Justice Department to drop that lawsuit. It was dismissed, so it's not subject to a court review. What conversations did you have with Mr. Ballard?
Senator Blumenthal, I cannot believe that you would accuse me of impropriety when you lied about your military service.
I am
you
not
lied.
asking
You
you.
admitted you
I am
lied
not
to be
accusing you
elected
of
a U.S. senator.
impropriety.
You
I'm asking
lied.
you
How
about
dare you? I'm a
conversations
career prosecutor.
with Mr.
Don't you
Ballard,
ever challenge my integrity.
had
I have
apparently-
abided by every ethics standard. Do not question my ability to be fair and impartial as Attorney General.
Ooh, I love it. I love it. And if you don't remember about Senator Blumenthal, you want to tell him about this? And Richard, I think he locked up again. Son of a gun. Anyway, Senator Blumenthal, when running for Senate because he's a senator, a Democratic senator from Connecticut, he said that he was in the Vietnam War. And years later, it was discovered that he was only a Marine reservist and never left the U.S. soil. Not one time. So, I mean, that's not something you forget. That's something that you omit when you're trying to gain the endorsements of people that might vote for you if they know that you're a war hero. And he tried to go down that road. Stolen valor and a scumbag to lie about all that stuff. I've got no. Yeah. Take it away, Richard. I know you're back now. So.
Yeah, that stolen valor thing just fries my gizzard.
Oh, I know it.
From people that have been there and were essentially shot at, maimed,
Absolutely.
things blown up and all that, and you tried to make yourself into a war hero. I don't even have the courtesy to talk to you.
Yep, I've got zero patience with that. Thankfully, I've never met anybody in person that's done that, but I mean, For you to take, and that's exactly what it is. Stolen valor is a great word for it, because you're taking the sacrifices of other men or other women that have gone and made sacrifices, even if it's just sacrifice of having PTSD or shell shock, to go through what they went through. Even if they didn't get physically harmed, you come back with mental problems. My cousin came back from Vietnam. I mean, he was messed up for a long time, nightmares and all kinds of stuff. We can't even imagine what they went through. But for me to sit here and say, well, I was over there too. And it's like, why? What kind of brain, what kind of person says those kind of things? To me, there's not much worse. I can't stand it. Can't stand it. Speaking of scumbags, see that's a transition there. It's a segue.
Segment ever. That's a segment of the day.
If you're taking notes, that's a segue. But a guy named Jay Jones. You may have not heard about this guy because they're not covering a lot of this on the mainstream media. But he's running for AG of Virginia. He's in a bit of hot water over a text thread that has come out where he's speaking of his political opponents. And he said this, I quote, "If those guys die before me, I will go to their funerals and piss on their graves." And then speaking specifically of Todd Gilbert, who's a Republican Speaker of the House of Delegates, he said, I quote, "3 people, 2 bullets, Gilbert, Hitler, Pol Pot. Gilbert gets 2 bullets to the head." So basically saying that Pol Pot, who killed 1/3 of his population because he was a scumbag socialist, and Hitler, and everybody knows what his history is, it's like Gilbert would be worthy of 2 bullets and let the other 2 guys live. It's just horrible, horrible stuff. And then he also said, put Gilbert in the crew with the 2 worst people you know, and he'll receive 2 bullets every time. He spoke of him and his wife breeding little fascists. Didn't you say you saw something else to where it's like to threaten the lives of his kids too? Wasn't that in?
Yes, and they should be done in as well.
Yeah, it's just
because they're breeding little fascists, as he said.
It's insanity. The great governor of the state of Virginia weighed in on this, Glenn Youngkin, which unfortunately they can only run for 1 term at a time. I heard about this the other day. I was not aware of this previously, but anyway, Winsome Sears, who is his lieutenant governor, is probably even more conservative than he is. She's going to do a fantastic job if she gets in there, and hopefully she does. If you're in Virginia, vote for her often if you can get to the polls, because you know how liberal they are. Maybe they'll let you vote multiple times, but she is a fantastic speaker. But Glenn Youngkin had this to say about this whole thing.
This is demented. And here we have the Democrat candidate running for attorney general, the top cop in Virginia, wishing not only that he had 2 bullets to put in a guy's head, but then he wishes death on his children. And Todd Gilbert has small kids. And for Jay Jones to wish death on his small children. But that is where the violent left of the Democrat Party is. This is where these folks are. We had Charlie Kirk assassinated, and so many folks celebrated in the far left. We've had 2 Democrats threaten to murder 2 of our delegates running for office in Virginia. They have got to call for this guy to resign, step down, get out of this race in disgrace, because this is beyond disqualifying. I mean, they're asking people to vote for this guy to be the Attorney General of the Commonwealth of Virginia. Everyone in Virginia should step forward, rehire Jason Miyares, and demonstrate that Virginia stands for the values that not just hold our country together. This is nuts. And this is why the Democrat Party has lost touch with where America is today.
Absolutely. He said it very well. They've gone off the rails.
And we were talking when we first got together off air that we've never even had anything close to a thought like that. Just because you disagree with somebody, that's what you want done to them because they don't believe the way you do, which is what a lot of these folks that have moved into the country believe.
Yeah, they do.
You have to go and do what we tell you. Otherwise, you're going against Allah. So, jihad, death, whatever. It's like, give me a break.
Oh, I know it. But that really speaks to somebody's character. It's sort of like we saw with Charlie Kirk. It was like those people who celebrated the assassination and murder of another human being. no matter who that human being is. It's like, I mean, Charlie was certainly not somebody that would be in the place of Pol Pot or Hitler. But I mean, my goodness gracious, when you say that somebody ought to get 2 bullets to the head and their children should be murdered, and it's like, I don't even know how those kind of thoughts enter somebody's head. And Richard and I have had bad thoughts. I know we have about people, but it's never gone anywhere near that far. Not even close.
And then to top it off and say, I'd go to their funeral just to piss on their grave.
know.
That's a direct quote. What?
It's incredible.
What kind of demented wackadoodle are you? And everybody who has endorsed him, nobody has pulled back from their endorsement.
No. I bet.
Does that tell you where the Democratic Party is? Do you people really want these kind of folks representing you?
He could
not American.
Wear a red suit with horns coming out of his head, and as long as he got a D by his next to his name, it doesn't matter, seemingly. But it really does kind of teach you a lot about somebody's character, and he is not fit for public office. Even the person in the text thread kept saying, "You need to stop doing this. Why are you doing this? I don't like you talking like this." I don't even know who it was he was talking to, but they were like, you could see the responses, and it's like even they were appalled at the kind of things he was saying. So. Anyway, the direction of America, as crazy it seems to have gotten, we have played this clip, I think, twice before on the show. It might have been 3 times, but I
at least twice.
Yeah.
I don't know if we have 3, but I know at least twice.
But it's a good reminder for all of us where all this left-wing lunacy has its roots. And this is Yuri Besmenov. He is an ex-KGB agent from the Soviet Union from the 60s, and the process that they were trying to infiltrate the education system here in America to turn hearts to be more socialist, let's say. This
is not a palate cleanser. This is a thought for the day.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it certainly doesn't clean your palate, but you're going to have to get a tongue scraper and do that on your own. We will not provide that as a show. That's not part of our deal. But anyway, here's Yuri Besmenov being interviewed, I think, in the early 80s. But it's a fantastic interview. Listen close.
Mr. Besmenov was born in 1939 in a suburb of Moscow. He was the son of a high-ranking Soviet Army officer. He was educated in the elite schools inside the Soviet Union and became an expert in Indian culture and Indian languages. He had an outstanding career with Novosti, which was and still is, I should say, the press arm or the press agency of the Soviet Union. It turns out that this is also a front for the KGB. He escaped to the West in 1970 after becoming totally disgusted with the Soviet system, and he did this at great risk to his life. He certainly is one of the world's outstanding experts on the subject of Soviet propaganda and disinformation and active measures. Well, you spoke several times before about ideological subversion. That is a phrase that I'm afraid some Americans don't fully understand. When the Soviets use the phrase ideological subversion, what do they mean by it?
Ideological subversion is the slow process which we call either ideological subversion or active measures, активные мероприятия in the language of the KGB, or psychological warfare. What it basically means is to change the perception of reality of every American to such an extent that despite of the abundance of information, no one is able to come to sensible conclusions in the interests of defending themselves, their families, their community, and their country. It's a great brainwashing process which goes very slow, and it's divided in 4 basic stages. The first one being demoralization. It takes from 15 to 20 years to demoralize a nation. Why that many years? Because this is the minimum number of years which requires to educate 1 generation of students in the country of your enemy, exposed to the ideology of the enemy. In other words, Marxism-Leninism ideology is being pumped into the soft heads of at least 3 generations of American students. without being challenged or counterbalanced by the basic values of Americanism, American patriotism. The demoralization process in the United States is basically completed already. For the last 25 years, actually it's overfulfilled, because demoralization now reaches such areas where previously not even Comrade Andropov and all his experts would even dream of such a tremendous success. Most of it is done by Americans to Americans, thanks to lack of moral standards. As I mentioned before, exposure to true information does not matter anymore. A person who was demoralized is unable to assess true information. The facts tell nothing to him. Even if I shower him with information, with authentic proof, with documents, with pictures, even if I take him by force to the Soviet Union and show him concentration camp, he will refuse to believe it until he is going to receive a kick in his fat bottom. When a military boot crashes his balls, then he will understand, but not before that. That's the tragic of the situation of demoralization. The next stage is destabilization. This time, subverter does not care about your ideas and the patterns of your consumption. Whether you eat junk food and get fat and flabby, doesn't matter anymore. This time, and it takes only from 2 to 5 years to destabilize a nation, what matters is essentials: economy, foreign relations, defense systems. And you can see it quite clearly that in some areas, in such sensitive areas as defense and economy, the influence of Marxist-Leninist ideas in the United States is absolutely fantastic. I could never believe it 14 years ago when I landed in this part of the world, that the process will go that fast. The next stage, of course, is crisis. It may take only up to 6 weeks to bring a country to the verge of crisis. You can see it in Central America now. And after crisis, with a violent change of power, structure, and economy, you have so-called the period of normalization. It may last indefinitely. Normalization is a cynical expression borrowed from Soviet propaganda. When the Soviet tanks moved into Czechoslovakia in '68, Comrade Brezhnev said, "Now the situation in brotherly Czechoslovakia is normalized." This is what will happen in the United States if you allow all these schmucks to bring the country to crisis, to promise people all kind of goodies and the paradise on earth, to destabilize your economy, to eliminate the principle of free market competition, and to put a big brother government in Washington, D.C., with benevolent dictators like Walter Mondale, who will promise lots of things, never mind whether the promises are fulfillable or not. Your leftists in the United States, all these professors and all these beautiful civil rights defenders, they are instrumental in the process of the subversion only to destabilize the nation. When their job is completed, they are not needed anymore. They know too much. Some of them, when they get disillusioned, when they see that Marxist-Leninists come to power, obviously they get offended. They think that they will come to power. That will never happen, of course. They will be lined up against the wall and shot. But they may turn into the most bitter enemies of Marxist-Leninists when they come to power. And that's what happened in Nicaragua. You remember most of these former Marxist-Leninists were either put to prison or one of them split, and now he's working against Sandinistas. It happened in Grenada when Maurice Bishop was already a Marxist. He was executed by a new Marxist who was more Marxist than this Marxist. Same happened in Afghanistan when first there was Taraki, he was killed by Amin, then Amin was killed by Babrak Karmal with the help of KGB. Same happened in Bangladesh when Mujibur Rahman, very pro-Soviet leftist, was assassinated by his own Marxist-Leninist military comrades. It's the same pattern everywhere. The time bomb is ticking with every second.
That was a lot to unwrap there, but yeah, this is the root of what's happened, and this is why we've got so many people that cannot think straight and cannot understand our rich history of capitalism and how it's made us the best country in the world. It is just incredible to me.
Yeah, and Trump recently said a country not based on God cannot rule itself, and this is what's come about to be.
And didn't Ben Franklin say that this country?
And it might have been, I don't know. I just
Yeah.
heard Trump say it.
Well,
recently,
I don't know
so-
whether-
and it's something I've heard before, but
I think it was only meant for a God-fearing, moral people that this
Yep.
whole the idea of America is supposed to be. But I mean, brainwashing. That's why I always say low IQ and weak-minded people, and I don't mean that to be mean. Unfortunately, those are the people they target, and those are the people out there in the streets with the signs about pro-abortion and pro-Palestinians and the whole thing. It's like they just don't have the ability to think, unfortunately, or decipher.
Well, and they don't know because they've been indoctrinated since they were in first grade. A young lady the other day was being told that, do you know what Palestine and whatever have in common, another city? And she goes, no, what? Tall buildings. And that's where gay people are thrown off of. She goes,
Absolutely.
what? No. She goes, no, that's the truth. And they're out there wearing all this stuff.
Yeah.
What is it? The hijabs of the whatever, the thing to saying, free Palestine. They don't even know what they're out there talking about. They don't know anything about the country that they have no clue. They were just told, here, go do this. Oh, okay.
Here's your sign and go. And like you said, Richard said this hundreds of times on this podcast. If we only had a little computer in our pockets to where we could look things up,
I know there's a device somewhere that might.
Anyway, we hope you were somewhat informed and had fun like we did. Don't forget you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, iHeart, Amazon Smart Speaker. You just got to say, Alexa, play Stay Off My Lawn, and or Rumble, wherever you get your podcasts. And I don't think we're getting deleted off of YouTube anymore. So, woohoo! That there is that. So anyway, you can find it. Find us.
Well,
wherever
we'll
you
find out
podcasts.
after this week.
we may find out something different. Yes.
Or if all that's difficult for you, just go to our good old website at stayoffmylawn.us for all our past and present episodes.
And we'll see you next week, folks.
Toodles, and thanks again for watching, and be sure and tell a friend. We appreciate y'all. Well, we had fun, and hope you did too. The opinions heard here today are not those of anyone other than Mike and Richard. If it made you laugh, or go, or even, then we've done our job. Sort of. Well, mostly anyway. And if we made you think about things in a common sense manner, we welcome you to the club. And if it didn't, then just stay off my lawn. See you next time.